My guests on the show today happen to be brothers. To be exact, they're identical twin brothers. Now, they've won a Super Bowl by each other's side, attended college together, given back to the community in major ways, used their platforms to fight for what's right in this country. But the most impressive is they've become husband and fathers and created their own families. I would like to welcome to the HD Connection, Devin and Jason McCourty. What's up, my man? How y'all doing over there?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
The first thing I want to talk about with y'all guys is free agency, right? That's what we're in right now. Jason, you're currently a free agent on the market. How has that process been for you right now?
I mean, this will be my 13th year, God willing. So for me, it's just kind of about relaxing and letting it all unfold. You know, when you're going to be 34 next year, free agency starts, you don't expect 15 teams come knocking at your door. I know for me, it may be a little bit later in the process of figuring out what's going to be the best fit. But, you know, I've had a great run. So at this time, I'm just trying to pick which team will be the best situation for me and my family. And we've had interest from a few teams, just kind of lukewarm interest. So waiting to see kind of what comes of all of it. It's been an awesome 3 years, getting a chance to, like you said, winning a Super Bowl alongside Dev, being in New England, getting to know just how they do things. You know, I did a lot of losing in my career. We were together in Tennessee. Then I went to Cleveland. We didn't win a football game. So getting to New England, winning the Super Bowl, playing in the playoffs, man, just learning what that level of success was like has been a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to trying to continue that and, you know, go somewhere and be a leader and be able not only to go out there and perform on the field, but help build up guys in the locker room.
That's right. Now, Devin, you're a part of the New England Patriots roster currently. As we speak, y'all made a lot of noise in free agency, which is uncommon for New England, right? Y'all signed some quality guys like tight end Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. I played with him in Tennessee. Linebacker Matthew Judon, Jalen Mills, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. What do you think about the new additions, my man?
It's interesting, man. You play on the team. This is, you know, like you said, hopefully I'm there. This will be my 12th year in New England. It never goes like this in free agency. And it's always funny because fans usually go crazy because Bill doesn't sign the guy that everyone's hoping for, the guy that'll change the team. But, you know, in my 11 years there, we've been to 5 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. So it's been a lot of success. But this is the first season. You know, we go 7-9. We don't make the playoffs. And you had the feeling at the end of last year, I said in a lot of interviews, things will change. Did I anticipate it changing like this? No, probably not. But, you know, Bill's a winner. He's all about winning, whatever it takes. And to see them just be so aggressive and sign so many different guys to try to change, you know, from the season before, it'll be a lot of fun. You know, I know those guys are coming in hungry. I've been a guy when you get that first big contract or second big, whatever you want to call it, and you come back for your next season, you want to prove that you belong. You want to earn it. You want to go out there and win now. So I'm looking forward to, you know, getting back in the locker room with all the guys and hopefully having a different year than last year with the pandemic and everything. And hopefully we could get back in the playoffs and be competitive.
Now, y'all are also returning 2 guys who decided to opt out last year, Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung. How excited are you to get those 2 guys back?
Oh, those are my guys, man. You talk about, you know, not just teammates, but guys, you know, High came in 2012. I've been with Chung the whole time I've been there, except for 1 year he was in Philly. Those guys are like brothers. They're good friends of mine. And all last year, just texting them, keeping up with them. It'll help me just mentally having those guys in the locker room to talk to. But then obviously on the field, they've been leaders. They've been big time players for us for over a decade now. And, you know, we need their input. We need their plays, their performance. So I think they'll bring a big lift to the defense.
J-Mac, you got to let the people know, man, what was it like growing up with a twin brother?
Man, I think the coolest thing about it is that you always have somebody to do something with. We got in trouble together. We used to play one-on-one basketball all day, video games. So all of those things growing up, man, you always got a sidekick, somebody to try to blame stuff on. So it's been a very unique relationship throughout our years. I would say getting into the NFL, for me, it was a learning curve because I get drafted in the 6th round in 2009. Dev comes back in 2010, gets drafted in the 1st round. He goes on to go Pro Bowl his rookie year, All Pro, to the Super Bowl his second year. They don't win. 2 years later, he's winning his first Super Bowl. Then he wins his second Super Bowl, another, I think, Pro Bowl, an All-Pro in between there. And here I am in Tennessee. I got my second contract, but we've never made the playoffs. Like, I'm not reaching the level of success he had. And I kind of learned along our journey is just like, you got to really focus on your own success and not really try to compare. And for me, it was kind of the next best thing. You grew up so close to somebody. If I never got a chance to win a Super Bowl, being so close, taking, I think it was at that time, 4 trips to the Super Bowl with him and the family, being on the field when the confetti dropped, when he won his first one, like those were very unique and amazing situations as a family and celebrations to be a part of for your twin brother, somebody that you've watched grind his entire life to get to that moment. So it's been amazing to be able to just follow each other and be able to watch each other continue to achieve different dreams and chase after new ones.
Now I want to loosen the listeners up a little bit as we get this ball rolling. So, Devin, the next question I got for you, right? When you looking at you and your brother, I want to know who is the responsible twin?
Me.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's him. He got married first. He had a kid first. I was taking my time with all the responsible adult things.
Now, J Mac, I'm gonna ask you, out of y'all being twins, who was the ladies' man between y'all two? Before y'all got married, you know what I mean? I gotta make sure I don't want the wives coming at me when they watch the show. I don't want them coming at me any kind of way. So respectfully, who was the ladies' man?
I mean, I guess I'll give Dev a very, very small edge. I'm not going to give him a big edge on that, a very small edge on that one.
I made sure I stayed single longer. That's why I had to hold it down.
Now, this last one is for both of y'all. And I think you already answered it earlier. When one twin got in trouble, did both of y'all get in trouble?
No doubt about it.
Yeah, we never told on each other. We try to teach our kids that now. They be so fast.
Bro, listen, I'm trying to tell y'all now, every 5 minutes, Daddy, Princey hit me with a bat. And here go my son. He running there, Daddy, pointing at his sister. And I'm like, why do y'all sit growing up? That's something we got spankings and whoopings for telling on each other.
Yep, exactly.
We got our spankings together.
That's right. So during the times where y'all were actually growing up, school, sports, wherever y'all may have been, did y'all trick people being identical twins?
We tried to. In school, every time we got to school, they put us, for the most part, in the same classes so that wouldn't happen. So, like, I think unless a parent goes in and requests that, like, the twins be separate or together, it's up to the school. And most of the schools we were in, they try to put us in the same class so that we couldn't do that. But it was a couple of times when you had assigned seats in certain classes, we switched seats, but somebody in the class that were like our friends that knew us apart, they will always raise their hand like after 5 seconds and be like, Jason and Devin switched seats. So it was never like one of those. Goodness. Yeah, it was never one of those epic stories.
So both of y'all being in New England, playing under Bill Belichick, was it difficult for Bill Belichick to tell y'all apart?
Yeah, in the beginning, he just called me Dad. Like, we've been running hills, get to the hill. I'm not even in Dev's group. Good job, Dev. And I'm just like, bro, like, we have jerseys on. Like, I'm 30, he's 32, to the point where, like, he messed us up a few times in training camp. And from that, and I think one time I was just like, Dev was like, yo, that's Jason. And he was like, well, I mean, you guys have on the same effing sleeves. Like, how am I supposed to tell you apart? So from that point on in training camp, we made sure every day we went out, we wore the same color long sleeves and the same color tights so he wouldn't be able to tell us apart.
That's amazing, man. I got to tell y'all a story. So growing up, and y'all know I have a brother, man, who played in the NBA for a while. So we look similar. And a lot of people couldn't tell us apart. So growing up, right, playing Little League baseball, I would bat like second. My brother would bat fourth. So the opposing team coach would come out screaming to the umpire, no, he already batted. He can't bat again. And my dad's like, no, sir, that's my other son. And he's like, no, you're cheating. He batted already. And we got the high school basketball, right? I remember this. Coach Rick Moore at Mount Zion. I remember I got fouled. And my brother, he was the natural bona fide basketball player. So my brother would go to the free throw line a lot of times and shoot the free throws when I got fouled. And Coach Rick, nobody noticed it but Coach Rick Moore. Coach Rick Moore was dog cussing the referee out on the sidelines. like dog cussing them. But it's things like that, man, that used to make me laugh and tell people, man, being a twin is amazing things, because I know it's things that Devin, you may go through that J-Mac may feel. Things J-Mac, you may go through that D-Mac may feel, because y'all have that bond with one another, man.
Yeah,
No
I
doubt
mean,
about it.
it showed up a lot. Like he said, when he got drafted in '09 as a sixth rounder, my last year in school of just trying to balance everything and being able to watch him in the NFL as a gunner and playing special teams. And then someone gets hurt. He's starting 3 games against Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And as I'm watching all this, it's inspiring me my last year of college to just try to play better, because I'm like, my twin brother is doing it. Like, he's killing it. And the truth is, I remember meeting with Shano about 4 or 5 games into my senior year, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, the scouts are coming by here and your grade is steadily going up. And he was like, one of the biggest reasons is the way your brother's performing. Everyone's watching him and they thinking you're having a better year than he had in college. So your stock's going up even higher. And it was just funny because even going to college, Jay had a few more offers than me, and Rutgers probably only offered me because they wanted Jay. And then you fast forward a couple years later, he gets into the NFL, performs, but no one realizes that because I become the first round draft pick. But our whole story is about one person kind of getting ahead and pulling the other person and vice versa. So it's been an incredible story as twins and siblings.
Now I want to ask y'all this, because like you just said, J-Mac, you came into the NFL first, and D-Mac, you was at Rutgers still, right? And I want to take it back to when I went off to college and my brother was back home. My brother struggled with that, right? Because I was the older brother. I was my brother's keeper. I did a lot of things for my brother, but he really struggled with that. D-Mac, did you struggle with that transition? And J-Mac, did you struggle as well being away from your brother, which I'm guessing probably was the first time y'all went together, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I was so consumed with chasing after both of our dreams at that time. And I get to Tennessee. And I think the cool thing was we talked probably every single day, whether it was one-on-one, whether it was in a group chat, whatever it was, of me just kind of telling him everything that was going on. And you know what it's like. I mean, you were a higher draft pick than me, but that rookie year, everything's a new experience. You go to training camp, one day to the next day, I break up a pass in training camp on one day, feeling good. The next day, somebody bombs me in one-on-ones. Like, those emotions, how it goes up and down, and trying to figure out where you're going to live. Do you get a place that has too much rent? What if I get bumped down to practice squad? All of those things going through your head. And I think I was so consumed. And I think in my mind, I'm communicating all of this to him. And it's just like, yo, I'm going through this. You're going to have the leg up on everybody because you're already going to know so much about the experience next year when you go through it, that I really didn't have time to really think about it. And I think at the same time, I'm ordering them sneakers. Like, well, I'm still being able to look out for him because now I finally got a little bit of money where he's still in school. So I think it was definitely different, not having somebody to lean on who's right there with you to talk about the experience, going to college together, like all of the new things we kind of endured together. And this was the first time where it was just, all right, like, I'm gonna have to take this on my own. But I don't think we definitely didn't talk about it, but I don't think we really thought about it because we both just engulfed ourselves in what the mission was at the time.
Nah, that for me, it was rough. Not just him, but I redshirted. So all the guys that I came in with and were in my class, the guys I hung out with every day, 4 or 5 of them all had chances in the NFL, either undrafted or free agents. So they're gone. I had to find a whole new living situation because all the guys I lived with, they left. We had to split all the sneakers we had. But it was a transition. I think for me, it was a lot of days of, really becoming a pro. I had one independent study class and decided not to start, my master's because I was like, man, I just want to dedicate myself to the game and try to get better. And I stayed because he was, we were twins. I stayed exactly on his class schedule. So I was ready to graduate the year before. But it was hard. And then it became fun just realizing who I could be on my own, and the same thing for him. But it was definitely a difficult journey at first, like finding how you use your spare time, like the guys you hang out with, and then a little bit of me, especially how the year started with us, just not going the way I wanted. I was like, man, I wish I would have just left and been a free agent and just not be here and be with all my guys in the NFL. But it ended up, turning around and being a really good season for me. But it was a big adjustment not having the guys I was used to in that surrounding.
Now I want to talk about Rutgers a little bit more. That's going to hurt my heart. You two guys know it's going to hurt my heart. That's why both of y'all are laughing right now. Now, first of all, I want to say this to y'all, though. I think it's dope. I think it's amazing that you guys are twins, and it's natural for you twins to want to do things for one another. But I think it's cool that y'all wanted to attend school together, and y'all had the mindset of, okay, if you're not taking me and my brother, then you don't have me. Right? I think that's cool, man. I think that's dope. Now we're going to get to November 9th, 2006. The day, and I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know this right now. That game changed my entire life. It changed my entire mindset on everything I viewed in life, not just sports, but life in general. Number 3, Louisville, which I was a part of that team, against number 15, Rutgers, and y'all were undefeated at the same time as we were undefeated. You guys go down 25-7, right? You go in at halftime. I think it's 25-14 at halftime. What did Coach Greg Schiano say to y'all at halftime?
It's so crazy because that game basically was won the year before when we lost to Illinois at Illinois. We're playing that game, and I don't know what the score was, but we're up a decent amount on Illinois, and they come back and they beat us in that game. And anybody that's watched Rutgers over the year with Schiano, you always see him doing the chop and all of that.
Chopping that wood.
And we lost that game, and we came in that next week, and he gave us all the visual of, you're in a forest. The only thing you have in a forest is an axe, and there's trees all around you, and you can't see your way out. The only way to get out is to take that axe, pick one tree, and start chopping. And you got to find the sweet spot, and you can't look up. You got to continue to look at the sweet spot, and you just keep chopping until one tree falls, and you go to the next tree and the next tree. So when we got down in that game at halftime, that was the mindset. Fellas, we got to keep chopping. We're not where we want to be. We're in the forest right now, and there's no way out. But it's only going to happen if we take it one tree at a time. So, like, there was no panic for us at halftime. I'm sure the coaches were panicking at halftime. But, I mean, you hit us down the middle in cover 2 where we got a linebacker running middle read on Harry Douglas.
He ain't stand a
That
chance.
game was just so much build-up. So much build-up for us. Like, Schiano, he coaches from a standpoint of, like, he's going to sometimes put you down to build you up. So going in that game, because y'all had Mario Uridia, too, at receiver. Yep. And, man, he talked about you guys. Harry Douglas is a 4-3 guy. He's already have teams. He's been done the junior pro day. Uridia is a second round. Like, he's just talking about y'all constantly and how we can't match up. So for us as a defense, we went into that game mad. Like, we wanted to try to kill Braun and not let you guys. Then the first half, it didn't go. But, man, guys were just fired up to come out there that second half and just give it all we had.
And I'll say this, man, that second half, man, we couldn't do anything offensively. Y'all mixed up coverages, man. Y'all was getting to the quarterback. Y'all was getting Braum off his spot. We couldn't run the football. And I think the only touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, nope, that was in the first half because we didn't score no more coming out of halftime. Right? Yeah, we didn't score no more. We actually scored a kickoff return touchdown. Yeah. So that also lets y'all know, man, that we were scoring like 30, high 30s, 40 points a game.
Yeah, I was doing it.
To come in the second half, we just couldn't get a rhythm. We couldn't find anything. Y'all just played so doggone well defensively, but y'all also had that run game going, which is very efficient. And people don't even know on that team, y'all had guys all over that team. You had you two guys, Jason McCourty, Devin McCourty, Courtney Green. Y'all had Ray Rice, Mike Teal was at quarterback, Brian Leonard, right, was fullback / running back. Taekwon Underwood played in the NFL. Kenny Britt played in the NFL. Y'all guys had NFL talent all over that team. So when I sit back and look at it now, yeah, that ruined my life in a way, because if we win that game, we go play for the national championship. And Florida's run don't even start because they beat Ohio State that year, right? And another crazy thing about that game is that the week before we beat, I think, number 3 West Virginia. We come in, we lose to y'all as the 3rd ranked team, and then y'all come in the following week as the 7th ranked team, and then y'all lose. Yep. So it's 3 weeks in a row in the conference where we're just knocking each other out of the national championship hopes.
Yep.
Only chance the Big East had too was we needed an undefeated team
That's
to go
right.
there. But I look back at that, at how awesome it was to play in a conference that didn't get really any respect for football, and then really to watch everybody's journey,
That's right.
being, playing against Pitt and when Revis was there, and playing you guys with you, Brom, and all those guys, with Doomerville, like all of the years that we were in school, and seeing Pat White and Slayton. It was just so many guys that, at the time it was just like, hey, we're over here in this little Big East conference. It's okay football. And then to watch so many guys perform in the NFL. I still tell my wife to this day, like someone's name will come up like, yeah, he's from the old Big East. That's different. We was different back then. So it's just cool to be a part of that.
Bro, that zone run scheme with Pat White and Steve Slayton.
Oh man.
If people didn't watch football then, they have to go back and watch that, because those two guys were basically unstoppable.
They had that
like doing that. Like what's that was crazy, man. Now I want to shift it to with all the stuff that's going on in our country, racial and political tension. What's the role of an athlete with a platform right now, you guys' eyes?
I think it's to voice, for one, your experiences, whether you're Black, white, especially nowadays, if you're Asian or have any Asian, descent or relatives or close family members or friends, it's sharing those experiences. I think, for one, when you share those experiences, you give other people power to share their own experiences. You let them know like, hey, this is okay. And I think it's the same thing when you talk about the stigma around, any mental health stuff. When, athletes or entertainers, when they share their own struggles, it allows people to look within themselves and say, you know what, like there's power in that. I need to share my testimony. And I think secondly, it's speaking up for the voiceless. It's not only sharing your experiences, but going out there in the community and realizing what someone else's experiences are, going and learning from them. And now, because of who you are, what you do for a living, people want to listen to you. They want to learn from you. You can now spread other people's message, other people's words, sit down with experts and people who dedicate their livelihood to helping other people and learn from them. And I think that platform allows you to create so much change. I think especially in today's society, like athletes can't stay quiet. They have to use their words, use their platform, because we have a chance to make real change in our country, a country that over hundreds of years have been silent on a lot of issues, who have let wrongdoings be done to different people. Athletes have a chance to have a voice in that and to create some type of change for the future generation. So I think we just try to be leaders and also followers of the men before us and the men who are now doing it at a high level. You talk about Cat, LeBron James, you talk about Dwayne Wade, Malcolm Jenkins, following those guys and also leading on our own. Just try to be a part of history.
J-Mac, what would you say to the people who tell athletes to shut up and dribble or shut up and do whatever they're doing?
I would tell them if they become a professional athlete, they can choose to do whatever they want with their own platform. But I think like Dev said, and that's something I've heard LeBron talk about too. I think as athletes, we have such a huge platform to be able to have change. And I think what's been impressive about so many athletes, men and women, is that we're educating ourselves. You don't have athletes that are just spokesperson for somebody else. And I'm just going to stand up and read off a piece of paper and try to make a statement on something that somebody else prepared for me. But guys are taking the time to get out in their own communities and seeing for themselves what's going on, having those conversations with grassroots organizations. So when you step up and you say something, it's coming from an educated standpoint and you know what you're talking about. So I would tell those people, it's like, you're just gonna have to get used to it. I think what's been so impressive watching a guy like LeBron James is that so many young kids, we look up to athletes, especially playing sports growing up, and you want to become what an athlete is. We saw Michael Jordan on commercials with Gatorade. We saw him jumping through the sky. He's in a Space Jam movie. We were all yelling Kobe when we were doing fadeaways. We wanted to emulate and be those guys. And you look at today's major athletes, like there's no bigger athlete right now than LeBron James. I mean, the dude just became part of ownership group with the Boston Red Sox. Like, he's setting a new path for athletes that a lot of people probably never thought of active players, you know. So I think when you see him standing up and being an activist and doing things in our community, I think that's only going to inspire the younger generations to say, you know what, I don't have to just get there and just play basketball. I don't have to shut up and just do what I'm being told by a coach or ownership. I can speak out for things I believe in. We all come from such different backgrounds. You have international players that have come over and tried to fight and speak up for their home countries. There's so many different things that as athletes we have an opportunity to shed a light on. I do think it becomes a responsibility. Everybody doesn't have to take it up, but those that do, a ton of respect to them.
Well said, my brother. Now I want to take it to the community. You guys are very active in the community. Y'all do a lot to create change. Y'all do a lot for, excuse me, for the youth to get ahead and have a level playing field, right? Last year, you guys donated $90,000 to secure Chromebooks, right, for students in New York, the metropolitan area, who were forced to do their schoolwork at home because of the pandemic. What drove you guys to do that?
Yeah, a conversation. Pandemic hits, conversation between Devin, myself, and our wives of just like the pandemic's hitting. We're fortunate enough that we're going to make it through. We've made enough money that we're secure financially. We have one another. What can we do to be able to help other people? And we just started brainstorming. We were able, where me and Dev grew up, we grew up in two different school districts. We were able to donate and raise the $90,000 for Chromebooks there and Wi-Fi. We gave to food pantries back home. We gave money to an organization called Compassion International, who deals with poverty on a worldwide scale. We started, there's a Fill the Stadium activation that's going on right now. Basically, a stadium holds 70,000 and it represents a family. And they're trying to fill an entire stadium by raising money. We started kind of our own team on that. Whether it's the International Justice Mission, what deals with slavery all around the world. We just felt like here's an opportunity for us to not only, as athletes, we're always talking about a cause and bringing awareness to a cause, where here's an opportunity for us to put our money where we're talking about and actually invest and donate to these organizations to make a change. So it really just came from a conversation of realizing, hey, we have a lot, and why wouldn't we want to give and try to spread to other people?
Now, you guys, both of you guys use your platform to attack Sickle-Cell, right? To see what can y'all do to get people who have Sickle-Cell anemia in a better space. Why was that so close and passionate for y'all?
Yeah, growing up, we got our grandfather had sickle cell and he passed away when we were about 8 or 9 years old. And then growing up our whole lives, our aunt, uncle had the sickle cell disease, and our father, who passed away when we were young, he had the trait, he had the sickle cell trait. So, growing up, we grew up really close to our aunt because when our father passed away, she really wanted to step up and kind of fill that role for that side of our family. And we never saw her struggles really. She was so tough. But as we got into college and she had to have, a hip surgery, and then something went wrong and she had to stay in the hospital, or, she'd be back in the hospital with something else. And, you start to realize like, wow, like, she's really struggling, but covers everything up to either provide and help us with different things. And when we got to the NFL, we thought like, what was something we can get involved in that can make a difference? And we thought of sickle cell, and it was one of the best phone calls we probably ever made when we got to call our aunt down in Orlando and tell her what we were doing. And every year we would talk to her and we try to fly her up for, one of our events, but it was always tough because as she got older, the sickle cell disease really made, moving around tough. She was legally blind. She was on oxygen 24/7. And, I think the best part of it was by us getting involved in sickle cell, we got to tell her story. And she lived to 69 years old, even though doctors told her she'd be lucky to live to 35. And when we went and we talked to kids who were 14, 15, 18, 21, 22, we got to tell her story. And parents came up to us and was like, man, I'm so happy you're doing this because my kid's trying to live life in the fast lane. They're so worried about not living long that they're trying to do everything before they turn 25. They're trying to do as much as possible. And they say your aunt's story made them realize if they take care of themselves, they can live a long life. And for us, that's what made it all worth it when we heard that story. And it's why we continue to try to do as much work as possible in sickle cell.
That's one of the reasons why, man, I respect y'all too so much, because y'all, man, y'all aren't just athletes, right? Y'all are ambassadors for what a human being should be. and I say that, man, and I was joking earlier in the intro when I said our little beef. We never had beef, you know what I mean? We always was coaching. We just had that loss against y'all that made me upset. But y'all, man, y'all are what ambassadors of human beings should look like. Y'all do things the right way, man. Y'all look out for the community. Y'all speak up for what's right, and it's a pleasure for me to actually even know y'all. You know what I mean? I just want to go ahead and say that before we continue. Y'all are great men. Now,
and when we talk about that Louisville game in Jersey, it's just known as pandemonium and Piscataway. Just so you know.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. This is great, man. I love it, man. Now, playing for the Patriots your entire career, Devin, and for Bill Belichick, what's the Patriot way if you had to describe it in words?
I would tell you, and Jay, I think, was the funniest, and him and Chris Long of when they got to the team, because I think there's this whole buildup of the Patriot way. And I would talk to Chris Long, and Chris Long would come in and he'd be like, "Oh, the Patriot way, because I never got in the 3-point stands and set the edge, or I never rushed the passer, so I got to learn how to do it." And Jay would always come in and be like, "Patriot way, what does that mean? Just doing what you're supposed to do." And that's really what it is. It's coming in, and I think it's having a team first mentality. And I'll never forget when I talked to Revis one day. This was a year after he left and went back to New York. And he said, "I miss being there." He said, "I felt like every day when I came into work, everyone was fired up about one goal, and that was winning a Super Bowl. No matter if they played every snap last game, no matter if they threw him the ball 5 times or 10 times." He was like, no matter how you were doing individually, if you were frustrated, you still had the same goal of trying to win a Super Bowl throughout the whole season, starting from April all the way through. And he said it was amazing to be a part of that for 1 year. And I think that's what the Patriot way is. It's not focusing on anything else. And it's called the Patriot way, but I think there's a lot of teams that have mentalities like that. But the Patriots have done it for 20 years, which is very unique. And I think that's why you do develop, something called the Patriot way, because it's hard to have sustained success for that long of a period. So I'm just very fortunate to be a part of that, got to learn from a lot of guys that did it before me. I'll never forget conversations I had with Lawyer Malloy after my rookie year, and just learning about his journey and what those guys did helped me a lot as a young player.
Now, if you play in this league long enough, that's the NFL, right? As both of you guys have done, players come and go, right? But the relationships that are built, those things last forever. Now, I want to ask this question for both of you guys, right? Playing all the years that y'all have played in the NFL, J-Mac, I'll start with you. Who is the funniest teammate, funniest / craziest teammate that you've ever had, and why?
Harry, you fall on that list.
I was nervous that you were probably gonna say that.
But funny is crazy, but one of the most competitive dudes I've been around. Like every day, just love to compete. Man, when I was in Tennessee, a lot of people may not know his name, but we had a DB by the name of Frank Walker. He was hilarious. I mean, bust out a freestyle at any moment. Like just a funny dude to be around. Craziest teammate. By far, my dog TC Campbell. I think he was Tennessee.
Everybody talk about TC.
And I knew it was funny because anybody that was in Tennessee knew TC was crazy. And as soon as he got to Jacksonville, I remember talking to one of their corners, Aaron Colvin, in the offseason. We were training in Arizona. I was like, man, my guy Tommy Campbell was out there. His first thing he said to me, man, Tommy crazy. And that just goes to show you. But Tommy was a good dude, like great teammate, but he'll fight somebody and start a fight in practice at the drop of a hat, man. So I would definitely say those two guys.
Yeah, Devin, for you, who's the two for you?
I would say for me, funniest was Gerard Mayo, because Mayo would crack on anybody. You walk out there, if it was Bill, if it was Mr. Kraft, if it was, one of the PR people that just walk in the locker room for a quick second, Mayo gonna make fun of them. And then craziest I would say is probably Jamie Collins. Like anybody that knows Jamie, he'll jump up and block a field goal by catching it. He'll flip the entire field. And he'll be laughing and joking with you. And then the next day he won't say a word to you. Like you never knew what you was gonna get with Jamie. So, but I've had a list of characters. I mean, Chad Johnson came through there for a year. Being there with Randy Moss, my rookie year for 4 games, was hilarious. You never knew what you were going to get with him, but he's always telling stories. So I've had an amazing time with some great teammates.
Okay, so now both of you guys had an opportunity to play with the GOAT, right? Tom Brady. Tell me something that was very unique about Tom that everybody might not know about Tom.
I'll go first. I was only there with him for 2 years. I would say for me, what was the most unique thing about him was how down to earth and how regular he was. Like Tom was in the locker room with us every day. Now, Tom wore jeans and a fit every day to work. So that was definitely different until I got to see Cam Newton for a year, who was all out, fully decked out, like he going to the club at 7 o'clock in the morning every day. But Tom was just one of the guys, like we'd be sitting there joking, talking trash with Tom as if he was Devin McCourty sitting next to me. And that was different from me coming from the outside in, because there's such a persona of like, oh, that's Tom Brady. That's Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And then you get there, first thing, Tom will be one of the first people to come up to you. Hey, what's up, Jason? Hey, welcome to the team, babe. Nice to meet you. Tom Brady. Like, bro, we all know who you are, but that's just how he was. And from the outside coming in, I think it was one of the reasons. And I think that's kind of what Danny Amendola meant when he said Tom is the Patriot way. Because when you have a guy like Tom, I think this is what he was trying to convey. A guy like Tom, who is one of the best players to ever put the helmet on, and he works like that and he embodies the Patriot way. It's just that much easier for everybody else to do it, because no one is reaching a level of success that he's had, and he's doing whatever is being asked of him. He's putting in all the extra work, watching the extra film, training his body. It makes it easy for the other 52 guys to fall right in line.
What about you, Matt?
And for me, it's just the hard work. I remember 2 quick stories. He threw an interception one day on like it was a Thursday or Friday practice to Rashawn Melvin. And that year, Melv was on the practice squad, and he came in, and Melv's locker was right by mine. And he was like, appreciate it, bro, because of you, I had to watch 108 clips in the red area last night to see if that was really going to play, how the defense would play it, or if I could get that ball in there. And I look back like, bro, you insane. Like you just added 108 clips to your nightly viewership. And then it was in 16, we played San Fran, and we're on the way back, and we had a big win after I think we lost to Seattle on like the 1-yard line, down 1 the week before. So we had a big win. We beat San Fran, and on that long flight back, and you guys know the celebrations when you win on the West Coast, or you're a West Coast team, you win on the East Coast, and everybody's up, we laughing, having a good time, and you look over, and my dog Tom, he's over there. He actually had the Palmer's cocoa butter out, rubbing his leg with his laptop on. He had a little thigh bruise, and he's massaging his leg, kicking it, getting it moving. And then he lift one hand, and he had the remote watching the film already. And you just look over there, and you like, bro, just different. Like, he gets it. Like, that's why he's the greatest. While everybody's partying, having a good time on the plane, he's getting ahead for next week. And I think it was also because he was 40. Like, Buddy was old, so he didn't want to do what we were doing. But I think it was that type of leadership of just being excellent that pushed people and made people realize, like, I have to try to chase his level. And I think you saw that in Tampa just in 1 year, how many people played better or just acted differently because you knew what you were capable of just having one guy on your team.
Now, I got 2 more things for y'all, but before I bring up these next 2 things, you did bring up that cocoa butter lotion. So listen, the only lotion that I use is cocoa butter lotion. So yes, I'm asking for the hookup. I need y'all to send me some Palmer's cocoa butter lotion. And my daughter even loved it. She said, Daddy, it smells so good. It smells so good, Daddy. Why won't mommy let me use your lotion? I don't know, baby. Go ask your mama. But I love it. And shout out to y'all, man. And that's y'all again using your platform, right? You know what I mean? To represent Palmer's cocoa butter lotion. No better people to do it than y'all two. And y'all probably ashy. Y'all probably need it too.
You know how it is.
Now, I want to talk about Cam Newton, man. Cam Newton came to the Patriots last year, just re-signed with the Patriots as well. Now, he didn't have the success that he wanted to have last year, and rightfully so. He didn't have an off season. It's a lot of things that transpired. He got COVID. Season got put to a halt. Then he tried to come back, and things just wasn't there. Now, I don't want to talk about Cam Newton in that light. I want to talk about Cam Newton as a teammate. What is Cam like as a teammate?
Ace Boogie. I'll say, man, the thing I always talk about with Cam since he got to the team, work ethic. Cam gets there, and everybody, when you talk about Cam Newton, they talk about the big personality, the clothes he wears, what hat is he wearing to the game. But as soon as we talk about like a lot of other quarterbacks, whether it's the Aaron Rodgers, the Drew Brees, the Tom Brady's, the first thing we start to talk about is, man, this dude watches a ton of film, the work he puts in. He's in there on Tuesdays. That is Cam Newton. He was there every single morning when I got to work, and he was getting out the shower because he had already been there and got a workout in. Every time I'm leaving the building, and I was 33 last year, so I'm leaving the building late because I'm getting treatment and stuff before I go home. Cam's sitting at his locker doing something and looks like he has no plans of going home anytime soon. It was his work ethic. He would be in there early, one of the first guys in and one of the last guys to leave every single day. And he came to work like that. And I think for guys that were on that team, because even me as a professional athlete, like when I first thought of Cam, that's not the first thing that came to mind for me. And it was fun to be in that locker room with him because obviously, jokester, having a good time. Dev could talk about that stuff. He is that. He brings everybody in and makes everybody feel welcome. But that work ethic, how he worked for me was just impressive to see another older veteran putting in the work, showing the young guys like, yeah, I've won an NFL MVP. I've been at the top of this thing, and this is what it took to get there. And I think that rubs off on guys because guys want to be in his presence.
Yeah, man, it was awesome, I think, to see. 'Cause I think black quarterbacks get kind of this stereotype of not having to work as hard. They just use their athletic ability. And I think coming in and seeing Cam, how hard he worked and everything he put in, and then how hard he worked to build connections. Like he was trying to get to know all his receivers, his tight ends. He was trying to speak confidence into them on a daily basis. He was in there arguing and going back and forth with the defense and training camp, making it competitive, letting the offense know like he was here to make them better and to lead them. And I think that was exciting. I think for me, first opportunity to get to play with another quarterback and to get a guy like Cam Newton, it was just cool to see. I was excited because I'm always advocating. I'm always talking about, giving people opportunity and not slighting people based on stereotypes, and to be able to witness and play with a quarterback. And, he was breaking records kind of because in New England, I think he was like the first or second black quarterback to ever start on opening day. Like those things are not small tasks to overcome. So it was awesome to be a part of it. And he was one of those guys that came in and was a leader from day one, which is not easy to do, especially not on a team with so much tradition and so much winning history. And he was able to do that as a captain this year for us. So I'm excited to see, a second year in the offense and him continue to just build in the organization and make us a better team.
Now, last one I have for you, Super Bowl, right? You fellas talked about it earlier. Y'all had the opportunity to not only play in a Super Bowl together, but win a Super Bowl with one another, right? How special was that to be able to do as brothers?
Well, it was awesome, and I'll be fast. It was awesome just because it makes no sense. I've been there and lost twice. It only matters if you get there and win. So we said that the whole week leading in. It was like, you're the first Twins. And we kept saying, it don't matter unless you win. Nobody's going to care that we was the first Twins if we lost. So to get over that hump and to win together, and for me, having already won two, to just be able to almost feel like I was outside watching him, just looking at him go through the process, 10 years in, first time in the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, have some huge plays in the game. As a big brother, it was awesome to just watch him do those things, and to watch him and his wife, who was along the journey with him the whole way, to celebrate and see that confetti fall, and to watch our kids playing the confetti. It was a hell of an experience.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I took a knee on the sideline as the confetti was falling, and I remember hugging Dev, and then I remember seeing Danny Shelton, called Oofs. Danny was with me the year before in Cleveland, where we didn't win a single game. So to think you can go from being on a team where you don't win a single game to the next year being on a team, and not just on a team, both of us played in that defense, made plays, but contributing to a team winning a Super Bowl. Man, talk about full circle. But then, like Dev said, 10 years prior to never making the playoffs, and then being able to get all the way to the Super Bowl, Man, it was just a hell of a night. Just everything about it. Conor McGregor walking through the field in pregame, the 2 weeks leading up to the game, just how the entire team in New England, most of them are just like, yeah, it's my second or third time going. Like logistically, like they didn't have any questions because they knew what it consisted of. Oh yeah, you get 10 tickets for the game, or oh yeah, we'll be staying at that hotel. You only get one extra room. Like these guys all knew what was going on, and it was all a new experience for me. And I just took it all in, man, and bottled all of that up. A ton of fun. But the reality is you win that game on Sunday. You have a great time. You're flying back on Monday. By Tuesday, you're dropping your kids off at school. And people are asking you, are you going to win number 7? So everybody moves on so fast. And now we're only, 3 or 4 years removed. We've only had 2 Super Bowl winners since then. Nobody's talking about back in 18. I'm still living in it. Like, and I still got my trophy in the living room. Like, I was a champ, I may never get there again.
Man, fellas, man, it was a pleasure having both of y'all on the HD Connection. I wish y'all nothing but success moving forward. Thank y'all for coming on, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you having us. Awesome to see you doing this, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.